Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off. Hat-trick hero. Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there. And they stay there. Because all we do is win, 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 no matter what.
Oh, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I'm joined in a virtual room filled with lions that are trying to keep a straight face because we've just seen a tweet from our own Ollie about Graham Potter on a water slide. It took me out. Oh, full team today. Ollie, Berth and Chris, they're here. What were your moments from the weekend other than that gold piece of content that tweet was?
I saw my 90-year-old granddad for the first time.
Wow.
Nice. And let me tell you, for a 90-year-old, he looks better than I do, and I'm 30. So
is that a compliment of him or an indictment of you?
Wow. Probably a bit of both. But it's good seeing him. So
I saw some friends this weekend that was really nice, and other than that, I've just been getting into arguments online with people. So yeah.
Chris, come on. What have you got?
I had a bit of a mixed bag results-wise, football-wise on the weekend. Girls lost on Saturday, but then Chelsea won on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
And then Sunday team drew, and I got my first player of the match of the season. So
some of us win on Sundays, though, Chris, to be honest. Right?
Yeah, not every Sunday, though, do you, Buff?
No, well, no coincidence that when I come back from suspension, they win. That's all I'm saying, Chris.
Yeah.
You were playing out of position, weren't you, Chris?
I was. CDM, mate.
Oh, wow.
Aren't you a striker by trade?
Yep.
Oh, he's doing the Wayne Rooney arc. The Wayne Rooney arc.
What are you doing at DM?
Mate, I'm a utility man now. I'm like a Sunday League Phil Neville now. Just play where I'm needed.
Chris, sorry, just a side note. Remember when I used to do that for your team, Chris? Eh?
Yeah.
Trying to be me, are you? Trying to be me.
Always.
Take my name.
Always.
For me,
take my name.
I mean, I was born before you, so okay.
Well,
yeah, for me, I've got a shout out to a former Blue. Jose Mourinho got booked for this weekend
this is amazing.
If you don't know, listener, he got booked for putting a laptop in front of a TV camera showing a wrong call by the referee. It's just the fact that he got booked. He was just there like, I just don't give a fuck anymore. I love it so much. It's just gold. It really was. Right. You know what? We don't have a Shevva shout out at the moment. But...
I actually do. No,
Ollie might.
Oh no, it's only a little bit, but do you know what? He was really nice. He's been really nice to me online in the last couple of days, and I just wanted to say shout out to Johnny. He never misses an episode. You know who you are. I know he's listening, and yeah, shout out to you, Johnny, friend of the show.
Fair play. Yeah, I had got a small mini shout out, and that's just because we had in our Instagram DMs a message from Byron. He knows who he is, and that he's been 20 years a diehard supporter for Chelsea and only watching him on TV. And he put that it was with his little TV in his room as a young boy in South Africa, or a TV in his now lounge in Australia. And he's never missed a game. And he got hospitality tickets to sit and watch Chelsea. And I was just,
wow.
Fair play. I'm very excited for him. Like that,
awesome.
When going back to the bridge for the first time in a while, it feels like returning home. Even though if you're going for the first time, there's like a magic and a buzz about the place. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Also, as well, he'd have to get up really early to watch every single Chelsea game if he was living in Australia and South Africa.
Dedication.
Fair play.
Yeah,
big shout out to him,
especially during the infamous period where I think we went and lost 5. I've got the graphic somewhere. It's like 6 losses, 2 draws. You're just like, we had to come through that. I don't know how we did it. It's awful. Oh, sorry,
No.
Graham. Sorry, Graham. It was kind of his fault. You know, he was he was kind of over that. I ain't even got the sound drop. Oh, there it is.
It was good for content though, Mikey.
Really good for content. Right. I'll still use the news intro, even though. Time to head to Kingsmeadow. Because no, not Kingsmeadow. Kingsmeadow Corner. Should have made this a lot better, shouldn't I? Because Chelsea took on newly promoted Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. Chelsea ruthless tonight. Ramirez. Oh, it's Macario who follows up for the 7th for Chelsea. They can't stop. They won't stop scoring. Clinical Chelsea tonight. Yeah, because Crystal Palace 0, Chelsea 7. 7. Oh, we saw how crucial goal difference was last season. So 7, never complain. Team thoughts.
Demolition job, really. Yeah,
not bad for a second game out in the league. You know,
that's true.
Like, yeah, total destruction. I mean, you know, Bronze got her goal for the first, you know, like her debut goal for the club. Like you said, Macario got one. Aggie Beaver Jones opened the scoring. We love Aggie Beaver Jones. Yeah, just a total destruction all round. And I think it's good that we are putting these teams to the sword, because soon we are going to have those tougher games coming up, like we said, and it's going to be about how we weather that. But this will give us such a big boost of confidence going into some of those harder games.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going on the road anywhere and you put up numbers like 70% possession, 24 shots on goal, and you're winning 7-0, you're kind of a serious team to be feared, even if you have a new manager. Chris, what did you make of 7-0?
Well, 7-0, 6 different goal scorers. Much more fluid as well than the first game, I would say. They are a joy to watch, this team. Even when they're not quite at it, you still want to support them. And then when they are at it, like some of the football they play, the quality of some of the goals was outstanding. There's not much more you can say about this team. Like it doesn't seem to have affected too much at the moment, because the culture of that team is winning and they know how to win. So I don't ever really worry about the team, which I think is a really healthy position to be in. It's a bit like what the men's team used to have when we had that core set of players. You was never really worried because the team sort of took care of itself. And this team's very similar to that. I think it's going to be another really successful year because we've just got too much quality. Like the players we bring off the benches is actually a joke.
Oh, the bench was insane. On a negative, not a negative, but for one, I worry for Palace because the sample size is so small. I know it's 2 games, but they kind of look a little Bristol City of last season. And
the step up from the women's championship though to the WSL it's too big.
Yeah, I did see I saw some contrasting takes online about the performance. Some said it didn't reflect how they played. I think that's kind of ludicrous because you can lose 3-0 and play well. I can sort of allow that. You lost by 7. Yeah. That tells you the game. And they weren't down to 10 players at any point. They just couldn't match Chelsea. And I watched this game with my girlfriend and she pointed out to me at how poor Palace were defending at points. I mean, the Bjorn goal, it just sort of, I don't think she had to do anything.
No.
It just sort of had to tap her and it went in. It was like, oh.
Palace was really poor at the back. And I think when you do that, and you've seen it from this Chelsea team over the last God knows how many years, if you have a bad day at the back, we are ruthless. We don't stop. We don't get to 3-0 and think that'll do. Like if we can go and get 6 or 7, we do.
Yeah.
Because like Mikey said, they're gonna know that they need to be ruthless like that because that was the difference last season between winning the title and winning it. So like it just stands us in good stead for that. I mean, you know, I think what was it like? Something like 5 of the goals came in a span of about 40 minutes. You know, from the 38th minute to roughly the 78th minute. 5 goals went in. Like, you know, we really know how to like ramp up the pressure and put teams to the sword. This team, it's a joy to watch. It really is.
And I think we also need to speak to the bouncer because We have a new member of the Stat Drop Club. Oh, yes, we do. We have
Damn right.
Vika Captain, because her numbers: 36 minutes played, 1 assist, 26 accurate passes, 1 chance created, 43 touches, 6 passes into the final third, 3 of 5 accurate long balls, 2 of 2 tackles won, 3 recoveries, 2 of 3 ground duels won. There's a new midfield maestro. Oh my word. I mean, what a performance. 36 minutes played as well. I mean, we like Chris said, our bench is stacked. We are so fortunate. We really, really are. I mean, come on, and just to impact the game like that. And she's only 19.
Yeah,
there's so
squad
much
building
potential.
at its best.
So much, yeah. And before we do move on, our Champions League draw was made, which sees us face FC Twente, Celtic, and hello again to Real Madrid, 3rd season in a row. So let's not mess about. FC Twente are the Dutch champions, Celtic are the Scottish champions, and Real Madrid play in the same league as Barcelona. So this is kind of a proper Champions League group in the sense of 3 of the 4 teams are champions. However, player for player, I'd expect a near perfect group from us, maybe 16 points if we throw in a random draw. What do you make of the group?
Yeah, I mean, on paper, I think we're the strongest out of the 3 of them. Hopefully, we don't have the same ref as we did last year against Real Madrid.
Damn right.
Because that was that was just atrocious, weren't it? Really, but yeah, I think on paper you could argue we've got the best team in the world. I think someone put in the chat the other day that this team's almost like the women's version of Man City, and I think the amount of firepower we've got and the stats you just dropped, Mikey, it's just ridiculous. It is ridiculous, and I think our depth this season is just it's untouchable at times. It really is, and I mean, Palace, to be fair, there looks a big golfing difference in class, really, and you do fear for them. But yeah, that Champions League stage, I'd like to think we can get through that. I wouldn't say easily, but on paper, you'd back us against every one of them. So,
any other thoughts, Ollie? But Chris,
just that we are the bollocks and we're going to win the Champions League this season. That's more or less it.
Is that going to happen, Chris?
Do you know what I back us to? I honestly do.
I like it. Yeah, we did also have some breaking news yesterday in regards to our next WSL game, and it was against second place Man United. It's now been it's off. It's postponed, and this was because Chelsea were expected to play twice in 48 hours. In fact, that's twice this year. We will be expected, but we were due to play United this Sunday, and then Real Madrid on the Tuesday. That's now been dealt with. We do play Leicester on the 15th of December, followed by Real Madrid on the 17th. No idea what's going to happen with those December fixtures, but I don't. It can't be allowed. Look, player welfare is so important, and it's just you got to listen to the damn players. It's common sense, and we're seeing so many ACL injuries. Just use your common sense here. I mean, look, it's common sense to me that any club competing in Europe shouldn't play on the Sunday before or the Friday after. It's just simple. And I don't know who this is to blame. I've looked at it. It seems to be on the WSL and Sky more than UEFA, because UEFA have said, look, we put this out a year ago. If that's true, then the WSL and Sky, because obviously with the games and broadcasting, the fixtures, you could, and I know people are pissed that they can't, it was sold out and everything. I understand. I do understand the outcry there. I think it needs to be pointed at the league failing the clubs, because what world do you think 2 games in 48 hours is acceptable?
I think it still shows as well, though, that there's still work to be done in the women's game in terms of it's a scenario you'd never see in the men's game. You'd never see us playing Man United at home on the Sunday and then due to play in Europe on the Tuesday and then just postpone the game. It wouldn't happen. It'd be moved.
Yeah,
it would be moved, or it wouldn't be scheduled there in the first place. Like the dates for the Champions League, any European games are done way in advance. You know what game week they're going to be on. You're not 100% certain on the day sometimes, but you know what game week they're going to be on. So the fact it was a Sunday, even if we was playing on the Wednesday, I think is ridiculous. So it should have just been a Saturday or a Friday game. And then we could have just left it. But it seems as though, again, TV don't really care about that stuff, but they'll care now because they ain't got anything to show now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. So it's time to head for winners and losers. As Chelsea welcome Brighton to Stamford Bridge.
It's Palmer. Oh, wow! He had a slow start to the season in front of goal, but he has now bagged a hat-trick in 30 incredible minutes at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, because Chelsea 4, Brighton 2. And we kick off with the winners, as always. Who've you got? How many have you got?
I've got a one that didn't actually have before this show started, and that's a new commentator that we've got on these clips.
Yeah,
It's
He's
very good, isn't it?
copyright free, that. All
Yeah, nice.
I did find 3 for 3. I struggled for the losers, but
I've got 3 and 3.
Berth,
Ollie.
forgive me. I've got 4 and 3.
Oh, boo.
It was such a good game. I couldn't bring it down to 3. I just couldn't do it.
Ollie, I'm going straight to Twitter and tweeting you right now.
We have a public falling out.
right. So straight away, we're going with the obvious winner. We all have Cole Palmer, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No one's been clever and gone, I thought everyone else should pick it.
I think when you score 4 goals, that would be a bit cute, wouldn't
It's
it?
the easiest name on the winners list. I mean, some stats for him since joining Chelsea. There's something a little more over than the game. 53 games played. He's got 31 goals, 19 assists. He's directly been involved in a goal every 82 minutes. He's just 22. 50 goals and assists in 53 games.
Do you know how ridiculous that is?
That's
That is.
insane.
I don't think. I genuinely think he's the best player in the league, and I'm not even being biased.
No, I think you're right. And I actually think if the only thing that's stopping him being in that conversation is the fact that he plays for us. If he was doing this at Man United, Liverpool, Man City, or Arsenal, he would be hands down the best player in the Premier League.
I'd remove United from that. I
wouldn't, because the thing is, at Man United, you do only have to play well twice, and pundits and the media will say you're the best player in the league.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, he got a hat trick within 10 minutes, but the free kick, that was pure class. I just feel that we don't see many direct free kick goals like we used to. Even James Ward-Prowse, I don't think he scored one in a while. And I've seen so many angles for that free kick, and each one makes the strike look even better. I mean, the technique to get it up and over the wall, right in the corner. I even feel that might be one of the goals of the month, maybe the season. It was that good.
The thing is I think that we're now transcending the best player in the league conversation. I genuinely do. I think him being one of the best players in the league is no longer up for debate. I think we're now talking about one of the best players in the world in Cole Palmer. I really do.
He's up there. He has to be up there.
Think about it, right? In the game, right, he scored 4 goals, right? Before you look at anything else, 4 goals in one half, which has never been done in the Premier League ever. And then you see that he hit the post and he had a goal disallowed. He could have had 6 in one half.
Yeah.
6 goals. And then he could have had a few assists as well. So he could have ended the game. If all went to plan, he could have ended the game with like 8 goal involvements. He would have obliterated every record that perceivably exists about that sort of thing. He's got to be one of the best players in the world. He's got to be.
I actually think as well, like, if you compare, so he scored 4 goals, and then you look at someone like Haaland, who has probably had a game where he scored 4 goals. I can't remember off the top of my head, but let's assume that he has had a game where he scored 4 goals in the Premier League in a single game. But Palmer's overall game as well was outstanding. Like Ollie said, he's hit the post. He's had a goal chalked off offside. He's missed an absolute sitter. He's created 4 chances for his teammates to score. Like, he ran the entire game. Like, I think that's the difference when you talk about best players in the world. Like, Haaland is the best goal scorer and could easily score 4 goals in a game. But Palmer, as an overall player, is better. He just is.
Here's a question for you that I've just thought of. And I'm not saying he is now, but how long before we say, if he has another season like he did last year, which he's on course to, when do we say he's better than Eden Hazard?
It can't be yet. I think he's got to put it up for for like more consistent seasons over time. Like, don't get me wrong, Palmer's incredible, and in fact, I kind of agree with the sentiment, Berth, because I haven't felt about a Chelsea player like I do about Palmer since Hazard.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying he's better now, but how many more seasons do we give him at this rate? Where you go, actually, I think
Hazard was at us for 7 seasons, so I think you've got to look at least.
But he was comfortably the best player in the league by the third one.
Yeah. I think with Palmer though, I feel a little bit sorry for him in the fact that I think if you give him the structure and foundation of the team around him that Hazard played in, I think Palmer wins us the league the same way Hazard did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he is definitely getting to the point now where he is having the influence on the team that Hazard did. It's just the rest of the team aren't quite at league winning level. I think if you take him out of our team, I think we drop at least 4 or 5 places in the league.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I mean, we lose the game 2-0 yesterday on Saturday, otherwise.
And you're right. He should have had more than the 4 on Saturday. But overall, it's a 10 out of 10 performance. I don't think everyone gave it him that. I think they gave him like a 9.7. But
what was he got to do, man? We're witnessing in the flesh a real life bona fide Chelsea legend in the making in Palmer.
Yeah.
The thing is as well, like, sorry to interrupt, Charlie, but
no, go on.
That pass he made to Nicholas Jackson, right, which Jackson should have scored, is ridiculous. It's first time with his left foot over the top, inch perfect. Do you know, it looks so easy. He's made it look really easy, but that is a really, really difficult pass to make. Not many players can pull that off. He can.
And for context, Haaland did it against Wolves. He got 4.
Yeah, you look at what Palmer's doing for us though in quote unquote the hardest league in the world. That's up for debate, but world-renowned hardest league in the world. I think if he's doing this at Real Madrid, he's in the Ballon d'Or conversation.
Yeah.
Just because it's Real Madrid.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really do. And he's already proving it on the big stages as well. He did it in the Euros, despite barely playing at all, you know?
You know, Bellingham was doing similar to what Palmer's doing for us at Real Madrid, and he's being talked about for a Ballon d'Or because it's at Real Madrid. I think Palmer, the only thing holding Palmer back from those conversations is the fact that he plays for us.
So it's a good question.
I saw a stat the other day that actually says that since Cole Palmer came to the Premier League, no player has had more goal involvements than him. Not even Haaland.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a joke, that is.
Right, second winner, Chris. Who have you got?
Mark Cucurella.
Nice.
He was getting booed a bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, I thought he had a really solid game. He was unlucky to have his goal ruled out as well for offside. But yeah, I thought it was another really solid game from him. Like, we're at a point now with Cucurella, which you wouldn't have believed was going to happen a year or so ago, where he can go through a game now and you don't notice him, which is the best thing. Yeah. Like, you're not worried now about, oh, God, if someone goes 1v1 against Cucurella, we're fucked. And we was at that point with him a year, 18 months ago, where you was really worried about him in the team. But now you're not. And I think his sort of improvement's been sort of coincided with our improved form as well. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, like it's almost like he's kind of lifted the team with him in a lot of ways. Yeah. And I want to say that I was wrong about Cucurella. And I don't say it very often, but I was very, very wrong about him.
I think we all was.
Yeah.
To be fair, we all
was
him at
at some
one
point.
Yeah, well, I think at some point we'd all written him off for sure, but I think I was the last hanger on of that club. And so, you know, he's completely turned my perception around on him. And do you know what else really helps? Is the guy's just so damn likable as well. It's really hard not to like him as a person, and that really helps you like him as a footballer as well.
Right, Ollie, who's one of your... You know what? I want to hear 2 of yours since you've got 4.
All right. Well, obviously, I had one. I had Palmer, but first one's attacking. Just thought that the attacking style of play that we were playing with, the way we were exploiting Brighton's high line, the way we were getting in behind, like we could have scored 8 goals easily against Brighton. Like if all things went our way, it could have been double digits for God's sake. Like we were absolutely tearing them apart. 4-2 is a really generous scoreline for them because I mean we'll get to it in the losers and stuff, but they didn't really have a sniff. And we looked like we were absolutely battering them pillar to post. The next one is Nicholas Jackson. And it might be a
Nice.
bit of a strange one maybe to have in a game where he didn't score a goal or anything like that. But I actually really enjoyed Jackson's all-round play. Specifically, there's one
Agreed.
moment, and it's for Palmer's first goal. He gets through on goal. He's one-on-one, and he makes the decision to, instead of shooting straight at the keeper, which is what he usually does, and he hits the keeper or messes up the chance in some way, looks around, plays a beautiful outside the boot pass to Palmer, who's waiting on the edge of the box. That's link-up play. If he doesn't score that goal, if he doesn't do that, that game could go so differently, because we were already 1-0 down at that point to Brighton. You know, if he misses a chance like that, people start huffing and puffing, maybe it's not our day, and the game goes differently. Like, we can't underestimate just how much Jackson galvanizes these performances in this team. He's so important. He really is.
Oh yeah.
I agree about the Jackson thing as well. And I think what's really important is that's the sign of a striker who isn't weighed down by the expectation of scoring goals.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to,
I
because
think-
Palmer gets more.
I think like we've had strikers in the past, you know, the whole curse of the number 9 thing, where they would have been so desperate to score a goal to prove a point that they would have took the shot anyway, hoping to score rather than doing what was better for the team. Jackson doesn't seem to care. Like, he can go a game without a goal and it doesn't seem to affect him. I think his mentality is actually so much stronger than people think.
He's an adversity baller, isn't he? Like, he grew up on this. He's Senegalese, right? He grew up on the streets of Senegal, and he didn't have a pair of football boots until he was 16 years old. You don't deter a man like.
Yeah, the determination certainly there. Oh, my second winner. No way any of you got this guy. Bernardo Cueva. No way anyone of you got him. Because he was...
You've made him up.
That does sound like a football manager player.
Bernardo Cueva.
He
He is one of those signings that stick with me. I'm not made this guy up. He was one of the signings that went under the radar because no one ever pays attention when you sign a member of staff. No one ever does. Well,
we were the only ones.
He was Brentford's set piece coach before we agreed a fee of 750k to sign him. And against Brighton, he was constantly communicating with the players, directing positions whenever they were a set piece. And the one thing that was pointed out a lot on social was there was one occasion when Brighton had a corner and Maresca looked at Quaver as if to ask, are we all right with this? Are we gonna be able to defend this? And Quaver just nods at him. That's all he does. Just nods. No communication at all. Just a nod. And honestly, I've never seen such an active member of the coaching staff on the touchline that's not the manager. He was giving instructions. He was informing Nkunku when he was about to come onto the pitch. He is as much of a reason, I feel now, that as Maresca is, as to the upturn in this form, because we can defend set pieces better. I mean, you'd argue, can we score from them? Let's look at the defending. That's my positive. And I think that I'll give him some flowers because, yeah, I think he's done a good job.
That's fair. I mean, clearly whatever he's doing seems to be working right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's 750k well spent. Berth, who's your second?
I'm going to give it to Jadon Sancho.
Nice. Good choice.
I think he's looking really, really good, really sharp. I was a bit sceptical when he first came to Chelsea. I didn't think he'd play much, but he's came in. Looks like he wants to be there. Looks like he's enjoying his football. 3 assists in 3 games now. His assist was really good. It doesn't really get spoke about because Palmer just stole the show, but that pass was really, really good. And yeah, the pockets of spaces he picks up from that left-hand side is really clever, really intelligent player. He's not the quickest, but he's skillful, looking better and better each game. And it's a real shrewd acquisition from us, to be honest, getting him. And I just feel that he's grown in confidence now. And the link-up he's got with the other players just looks a real good sign at the minute. So, yeah, he's my second winner.
Right. Ollie, who's your final one?
Mentality. Because we went 1-0 down in that game against Brighton. It was unfortunate, and you could argue it was against the run of play, and we'll get to why that all happened in a minute, I'm sure, when we get to losers. But this team, in the past sort of 18 months or so, I've started with Pochettino, but it seems to be so much stronger now as well, is their ability to bounce back when things don't go their way. When we were playing football under Thomas Tuchel towards the end, and then under Graham Potter, and then under Frank Lampard and Who was the other guy for one game who we had?
Bruno.
Bruno Saltor.
Oh, yeah.
When we were playing under all of them, if we went a goal down or a goal behind, we thought there's no chance we're getting into this. And so we have seen in 18 months, 2 years, a complete 180 on that narrative, on that idea, and on the players' mentalities about when they go behind. So it's a really nice thing to see it, because it happens more often maybe than we'd like, us going 1-0 down. But that we have the tools to be able to deal with it appropriately. The players pick their heads up and they go again, and that's all the fans want to see.
Right? Yeah, 100%. But Chris, who's your final?
I've got the fans.
Nice.
Nice.
I think
winners.
because I think hope is being restored. I think you're starting to look forward to actually watching the games again, rather than dreading watching us play. And this game specifically, I just think that's the sort of football that fans enjoy. It wasn't about control over the game. It wasn't overly tactical. It wasn't all about how much possession have you had and how many passes have you completed, how many entries into the final third have you had, and how many touches in the opposition's. But no one cared. It was just like a basketball game. You go have a go, we'll go have a go. And that is the football that fans enjoy. And I'm all for it. I know people was asking, like, would you want more possessional based stuff? No. I would rather watch a game like that every week than a Man City game.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
It shows it doesn't show that as well that Maresca's maybe not quite as stubborn as we all thought he would be.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You know, before we go to Berth's final one, I'll just drop mine in, because this spot was also closely going to be given to Jadon Sancho, who had a top tier game. So I'm glad someone else picked him. Mine's Enzo Fernandez, because I feel he needed a little bit of attention here. He kept us ticking that game. He was like a steady pace clock. Tick tock, tick tock. He was never too early. He was never too late. He was spot on each time. He was involved in 3 of the goals.
Chris is fuming with you, Mikey. Chris is so angry with you right now.
I know, but I believe 2 that were ruled out as well for offside. I believe he's involved in them. His vision, he was on point, and I have to give him a praise. So
I can't say anything yet.
I've got to give it him for that. So, Berth, who's your final winner?
Like, no one would have thought of me saying this, but I'm going to give it to Renato Vega. No,
Okay.
no, hear me out. Hear me out.
That's a bit of a waste.
Absolutely not. I'll tell you what. No,
what a waste of a slot.
I'll tell you what. Right, unsung hero, massively. Always comes off the bench. Always performs well. You know, he made the most tackles in that game on Saturday. Coming off the bench. He made the most tackles.
Wow, that
he's always looked
good
solid
stat,
when he's come on. When he scored the winner against Bournemouth, he ran and jumped into the fans. Really rate him as a player. He young lad, very strong lad, good on the ball, great tackler, great in the air. I think he's got a real bright future. And I don't know when I'd give him like a winner's slot. So I just thought, you know what? Everyone else would say the same things that I could have said. I'm going to give it to someone different this week, giving it to him.
I actually agree with that. I think he's got a bit of an Aspi kind of utility player
100%,
type vibe about
100%.
him. And yeah, you just see him being that. It's you could sort of call him a Swiss Army knife, because of course he's from the Swiss league. He's a top player, top professional.
You know what?
I was worried about the step up to the Premier League, but he seems to have handled it no problem.
You know what? Fair play, Berth. He's stat padded. He's right here. He's got his stats in order, because 3 of 5 tackles won. Most of anyone on our damn team. So, wow. Okay, yeah. You know what? I'll take it back.
This is why I'm a genius.
Not a waste at all. I have been humbled. Right, winners done. Losers next. Oh dear. I've got to go. We've all got him. We have. I don't even need to look at your lists. Is it Robert Sanchez?
The one and only.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Dear. I mean, he was at fault for the first goal. We rushed out into nowhere, and then he underhit a pass, didn't he, that led to Brighton's second. Oh my word! You know what? I haven't seen Sanchez look so rattled, so worked up since the last time he faced Brighton. You know, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to instantly call for his benching. as much as, you're tempted. You're tempted.
You especially, Mikey.
I know. But all I'm saying is that the next time we play Brighton, bring Jorgensen in. Because I don't know whether it's Brighton, the atmosphere, he can't handle it. He doesn't seem to play well against Brighton. I mean, go for it. Sanchez.
You know what though? And the two mistakes were absolutely shocking. The first one especially was unforgivable. If my son daddy keeper did that, I'd be absolutely fuming with him.
See, I just laughed at that. I wasn't mad.
It was laughable, to be honest with you. The second one is bad, but not as bad as the first. But what was actually promising, if you'd call it that, so he actually made some good saves after it. He didn't let his head drop. So and he has played well past a couple of games. He has to be a loser this week, but he did play well after those two mistakes. So fair play to him. However, his distribution, and I've always said this, and decision making is shit. It is awful. It's so bad. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think Jorgensen's the answer, Mikey. I'm sorry. I don't think he is. But I think for me, in January or summer, I think if we want to get up to the top 2, top 3, whatever, I think we have to buy a world-class keeper. We have to.
Agreed.
I've been saying it for months. We need a keeper so bad. And didn't we get a question on the last podcast or
we're going to get
2
on
podcasts ago that said, like, is it too early to judge Sanchez? And we went, yeah.
You know what?
This is why. Because it'll always cost you more than he wins you.
Because of that, we will actually we're going to leave it for Christmas questions, but I'll shoot it in now. The same question from our Friday show on a Thursday. It was because Justin Lawson wanted us to know if Robert Sanchez is finally proven us all wrong after that game against Brighton. I mean, bloody hell, I praised him, didn't I, saying he did well in those 2 games. But Ollie, you called it right. When I pulled that, I had to re-listen to the pod, and you'd said, yes, it's too early because he costs us more and he doesn't. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
This is the important thing about not getting too carried away when players have one good game. When they start to string it together, sure, then we can have a conversation. But, Bournemouth was the best game that Sanchez has ever played for us. That one against Brighton might be up there with the worst. So,
it was so bad. I mean, Chris, why?
I don't think you really need to say much more. I mean, him being a loser was more obvious than anything you've ever seen in your life. So it's the first goal for me is the real one. Like, there is I will come on to Caicedo and Colwell in a bit, but
spoiler alert.
When that ball looped up in the air and it's dropping 13 yards from your goal, there is no way that bloke is going to score a header past you.
I know.
Your line. So why are you coming out? Just let him head it at you and then just save it. It's simple. Like, he's come out like, oh God, I've really got to go and deal with that. Why? It's not dangerous, mate.
It was a contested ball. Like, it wasn't like he was there alone either.
He was so poor. The decision alone was just awful.
I also do, funnily enough, I don't know why, but I kind of want to come to Sanchez's rescue a little bit as well, because we'll talk about the defending for that goal, because let's be reasonable. It wasn't just on Sanchez. Certainly the first one. The second one probably is mostly him, but even there's a whole series of events that go up to the first goal that don't go right before we're even in the situation where Sanchez makes that boneheaded mistake. And the other thing is I did like that he came out after the game and said, mistakes happen, we're all human, etc. He didn't hide away from the adversity. He's not blaming anyone else. He just accepted the L. He took it. He moved on, and he's framing it in the support of his teammates. And so, you can see it as taking the best from a bad situation. I think he's done really well with that.
Yeah, I mean, 1 mistake was bad. 2 mistakes weren't great. I'll do my second quick loser, one-on-one chances, because it has to be a loser, because we won 4-2, but we should have won 6 or 7-2. Because look, Nicholas Jackson was most guilty of missing. I think he had 5 one-on-ones at one point. Palmer, we already touched on, he had an even easier one, which was wasted. And I am that person who says I can't accept something in a win that I wouldn't in a loss. We were just wasteful. We scored 4. I'm really happy, but bloody hell, it really should have been 7 odd. We should have matched the women's team. It should have been 7 because
Oh, that would have been so good, wouldn't it, if we both scored
you
7 this
can't.
weekend? Oh.
It's fine when you're that like 4-2 up or whatever, but you do worry. We have to start scoring them. We have to do like Man City. Remember when we used to win like 7-8-0 against like Wigan?
Yeah.
And Villa 8-2, I think, or something stupid.
Yeah.
That's the point. I've just made that up.
To be fair, I get your point, Mike. I do get your point. I think, like I said in the group chat on Saturday or Sunday, whenever it was, I think it only becomes a worry when we don't score. At the minute, we're scoring every game, and we're scoring 2-3 every game. At the minute, missing one-on-one chances, I'm not too bothered about at the moment.
You know what it reminded me of this game, though? It reminded me a bit of the Tottenham game last season. Like it was, we was getting in so easily that they was almost surprised at how easy it was. So then messed up the finish.
Yeah.
And like Berth will probably know as well. Like you play in some games like that in Sunday League where the team you're playing is that bad that you get in so easily that actually you end up messing it up because you think this is just too easy.
Yeah.
Because your concentration levels have dropped because it's just too easy. And I think like Brighton first half committed suicide. Like that line was unbelievably ridiculous. And it was the same when we played Tottenham.
Why do teams keep playing these kind of high lines against us? We've absolutely exploited it and ruined 2 teams off the back of it. Stop doing it against us.
I know.
Stop it.
Yeah. I think Ollie second loser.
Yeah, I had attacking as one of my winners. Defending's one of my losers. Because certainly, in the build up for the first goal, I mean, my God, just fucking get rid of it, man. Like, Caicedo and Colwill are flapping about with it in the box. Like when you're under pressure like that, and it's always up rather than out, and all of that stuff, you just have to get rid of it. Occasionally, it takes someone to take the balls and say, right, I know that we pass out most of the time, but this situation has deemed it serious enough for me that I'm going to fucking get rid of the ball now. And someone needs to take that responsibility on defending, because at the moment we will pass ourselves to death like that, and we will give up mistakes. And better teams will pounce on it more than Brighton did. Like Brighton ultimately didn't really make much of it other than a couple Sanchez mistakes. But a team like an Arsenal or a Man City, they'll put you to the sword for that stuff. You can't slack off, and you can't like switch off even for a minute when you're defending. It's so important.
Yeah, 100%. Chris, who's your second loser?
Well, I had to couple them together because I don't think either of them had terrible individual games, but as a pair, again, Caicedo and Enzo. It just doesn't work. The midfield in transition was non-existent. Yeah. The instant we lost the ball, Brighton literally walked through midfield. And it wasn't down to Enzo having a really bad game or Caicedo having a really bad game. It's them two together. It's like they're opposite. It's like they're the same end of a magnet. So they just spread away from each other. They can't connect. Like they have to just go and stand really far away. So there's no correlation between them two and covering in midfield. And I just think Ollie's touched on it there, but he's absolutely right. For everything positive from this game, I think if we're playing a better team, the game could easily end in a draw. It was down to Brighton's really shit end product why we didn't concede more goals. Because first half especially, the amount of times they just walked through us and onto the back line and then walked through the defensive line as well. It was actually criminal. It's only because they messed up the final pass or the final shot that it didn't end in a goal. So people tend to forget it. But if that midfield is going to be that open, there will be a team this season who will give us an absolute spanking.
Yeah, we'll get absolutely rocked one day because, everything the start, in the same way that the stars kind of all aligned for us in this game with Palmer and everything like that, the stars will align completely in the opposite way. And for another team against us, and they're just going to put us to the sword if we're not defensively resolute enough. And we say, it all goes back. I think you're right, Chris. It goes back to the midfield. Like we need them to be able to protect the back four, and for whatever reason, they just can't do it, those two.
No, off the ball, those two are terrible together. I just don't. I don't know why it is. You can watch them play, and you don't really know why it is, except for the fact that both of them are stood in weird places. So positionally, they're all over the place. But
a bit like, you know, whenever we played Jorginho, Kante, and Kovacic together, like on paper it should have worked, and it
it
never
just didn't.
really did.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. It like I said, I actually thought Enzo on the ball was really good on Saturday, but off the ball was fucking atrocious, and I thought Caicedo was shitting both. So if one of them was worse than the other, this week Caicedo was the worst one because he did nothing either on or off the ball. But I just
that's
think
the closest Chris gets to an Enzo compliment.
Yeah,
close.
100%.
We were nearly there.
Yeah, but I just think like as a midfield, I understand what people are saying, and like I've seen the videos, you know, the clipped up compilations of what Enzo did on the ball. But a midfielder's job is both sides. You can't be just good on the ball and do nothing defensively, and you can't be just good defensively and do nothing on the ball. You have to be able to do both sides of the game, and that's how a midfielder should be judged. And these two at the moment, especially when they play together, aren't doing both sides of the game.
Yeah, they can't find the balance.
I'll tell you what, Chris. You can say you've been playing midfield recently. Jeez.
Oh my word.
Pop you in there, Chris. We need a DM.
Yeah.
This is it, mate. Right. This is it.
Berth, who are your final two?
Right, so, well, we said it earlier, but one of my losers was Brighton's high line because it is literal. Honestly, we saw it at Spurs last year. Why teams produce this high line? You're just asking for trouble. If you've got a quick attack, you are asking for trouble. And teams and managers, for some reason these days, are too stubborn to adapt. I'll give Arsenal a lot of credit and I'll give Arteta a lot of credit because he actually can adapt. Guardiola can adapt. That separates the top managers. Yeah. For some reason, Postecoglou, that's why I put him up there because he can't seem to adapt in game to like the scenario, the game. When they went down to 9 men last year, he should have put 11 men behind the ball. They'd have probably got someone out of that game, but he didn't. Brighton exactly the same. So they just dropped a bit deeper. They could have got someone out of that game on Saturday. They really could have. But instead, he had chance after chance after chance. It could have been about 7-2 to us, really. Obviously, we missed a few chances, but yeah, that was one of my losers. My other loser, not necessarily because of how he played, but Christopher Nkunku, because he must be thinking he scores a hat trick midweek, thinking I've got to be in contention here.
I called it.
He then gets benched, and you're thinking, right, he's on the bench. He's thinking, well, you know, hopefully Jackson and Palmer don't anything like really good this game. Maybe I'll get on and score a few goals. Palmer scores 4. Jackson gets an assist. I bet he's thinking, well, I'm just never going to get in this team.
He's thinking, what have I got to do?
Yeah. What do I have to do? And he'd be thinking as well, those one-on-ones, the ones that Palmer missed, the ones that Jackson missed, he'd be thinking, I could have scored these. Sadly, Palmer scored 4. So it's one of them, where is he going to fit?
I think it was when Mudryk was brought on before him as well. As in Nkunku there, you must be sat there thinking, this is a fucking joke.
Yeah, you're looking at that going, really?
Yeah.
Hands on him.
Mudryk's coming on before me. Fuck me.
But you would think that Nkunku is going to start on Thursday. You'd have to start him on Thursday.
Yeah, I think you have to. Sure.
Yeah, I'd say you would.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I think this is going to be Nkunku's last season at us.
Do you think he's going to get fed up and leave next summer?
There's no way. I wouldn't be surprised. There's no way a player that good sits on our bench, gets 8 minutes in a Premier League game, and is happy playing against Barrow in the Carabao Cup, and someone called Noah in the fucking Europa Conference League. Not a chance is he happy with that. He will ask to move. I'm telling you now. If he doesn't start getting more minutes, he will ask to move.
Chris needs to save that for the overreaction segment. That look, my final loser was I was forced to do a third loser because I like to stick to the rules.
Right.
No, it's my man. It's Madueke because he had a bad game. He had a bad game. Look, it happens. I think someone's going to go tell the truth. Tell it. Look, he was selfish when presented with an attacking chance. When he chose to take the opportunity to shoot when a pass to a teammate would have been the much better option. Being selfish can be a positive in this game. Eden Hazard showcased that very well. However,
Noni himself showed it when he scored the hat-trick against Wolves.
However, even Hazard knew when to be selfish and when to share it out. Madueke, he just needs to learn that. He's got a lot of potential, and it'd be great if he does learn. That's it.
I'm also inclined. I think I've heard a lot of people saying that Noni should be dropped because like his attacking output's kind of fallen off a cliff since Wolves. And while I do see that, I'm really hesitant to like mess with something that is working. If you know what I mean, like his off the ball work seems to be making a difference. Like I guess the question is for Maresca, if you change something now, do you change your winning formula or to try and make it even better, or do you try and stick with what you've got? And I don't know. For me, it feels like the first time we're scoring goals for fun in fucking ages. So for me, I wouldn't be changing a damn thing.
I agree, and I also think though as well, like especially for the next game, not Thursday, like the next real game, for the next Premier League game, you wouldn't risk moving Palmer out to the right after he's just scored 4 from where he's playing, and I don't think anyone else who can come in and play naturally on the right, who like because Nkunku, we don't know. I don't think they've been good enough really. Like Neto's been okay, but he hasn't been great. So it's not like you're saying, oh, Madueke needs to be dropped because Neto's been brilliant. Like Neto would come in and he'd play pretty much very similar to what Madueke is doing. So I agree with you, Ollie. I think for now you just leave it alone until it isn't working.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Let's round off those losers. Who's Ollie and Chris left, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got one left.
Go on.
Yeah, I've got one left.
My last one is second balls. Just a few times. This one's a bit of a nitpicky one. Like I said, I struggled to find losers, but I thought in the game, I don't know, there were enough. There was enough times it happened where I sort of recognised it as a pattern where we just weren't quite winning those second balls, and not attacking wise, because actually in the attacking sense, we won a lot of our second balls against Brighton. It was more defensively, like. And specifically, again, the goal is what's playing in my head a little bit. Whereas, we're not getting it out. We're just like, we're not winning the second ball and properly clearing our lines with it. Like, someone needs to be able to take charge in those kind of situations and needs to be able to win those second balls. Usually, that's Caicedo. Didn't have the best game against Brighton, but when it's not him, it needs to be someone else.
Yeah.
Chris,
I've got Colwell. I thought he was shaky all day.
I think that's a bit harsh.
No, I tend to agree with Chris. I do tend to agree with Chris.
Yeah. Thank you, Beth. Right. I think for the large part of this season, he's looked quite composed and calm in his defending. I thought he was erratic. From the minute he was involved in that opening goal, I don't think he recovered. There was just positionally, he wasn't right. He was stepping out when he should be coming back. He was dropping back when he should be stepping out. Caught out positionally, didn't really win many of his duels. Didn't really affect the game in the box either. Wasn't clearing things, wasn't putting tackles in. Just thought it was a bit lackluster, I would say, from him. And I think it would have been highlighted more if we was playing a better team.
Yeah, I think that if the result doesn't go our way, I think we're probably digging out Caicedo, Colwell, Sanchez, in a lot more than we probably have done today. And I know Mikey says you can't tolerate in a win what you wouldn't in a loss, but at the same time, we did win the game quite emphatically.
It is weird though that like all 3 ex-Brighton players are probably our 3 worst players.
No, Cucurella had a good game.
Yeah,
Cucurella. Yeah, but I suppose so. Yeah,
yeah, except for Cucurella.
He hates them. That's why.
Yeah, he does.
Right. Time for the emoji game review. I go with ice cold because Palmer's Day.
What am I
was going to pick? Now I have to do something else.
That was the obvious one.
I'm gonna go with the stars in the eyes.
Oh, lovely
emoji, because I think there are a few players, especially attacking in this team, who look like they're going to develop into real stars.
Nice. I'm going to go with the shivering emoji because specifically because Cole Palmer's celebration is going mainstream. Like people are starting to do it. Like I sent you the picture while we were watching. Yeah. Graham Potter's doing it, for God's sake. So it's fun to see. Like I can't remember the last time like a player's celebration going quite as mainstream as this. Maybe Rashford's one.
Yeah. Did you hear about Morgan Rogers?
Yeah, saying it's his.
Cole Palmer stole his. Mate, you played for Middlesbrough. Nobody knew you were doing it.
Actually, what?
Nobody watches Middlesbrough.
What I will say to that argument is that actually Palmer said that Rogers, he got it from Rogers.
Yeah.
I will say that.
However, it's not who does it most. It's not who does it first. It's who does it best.
That's true.
Score more goals.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. For me,
I haven't got no. I haven't had, I haven't had
Berth,
emoji.
sorry,
It's all right.
sorry,
It's okay. It's
sorry.
okay. Don't worry. I was going to go for the dribbling emoji because that's what I was doing basically over Palmer's free kick.
It's a great free kick, wasn't
Nice.
it?
Yeah, fair.
It was a good free kick.
Got the
was
seal of
beautiful.
approval from Marcus Alonso as well. Did anyone see that?
Oh, I did.
He was
Oh,
Marcus Alonso
Right,
esque
what?
though. To be
Yeah.
fair, it's a proper,
yeah,
Run-
It was,
Running down
yeah.
the wing for
Yeah.
you.
So I said I'd have one.
Overreaction, do you think?
My overreaction, my Oscar overreaction from this game was set in stone before the kickoff. It was. I'm so sorry. And that's that Kiernan Dewsbury Hall is loaned out in the January window.
Oh, mate.
There's no chance. There's no chance they'll
He
loan him out.
He didn't even make the bench on Saturday. And if Maresca isn't putting you on the bench, despite you being literally a key player for him last season, what is your future?
I know,
I'm
but
sorry, but I do not see it.
I think as much as maybe he doesn't fancy Dewsbury Hall, I think he fancies Carney even less. So I think if any of them are going to go out in January, it's going to be him.
Go on.
I think Dewsbury Hall won't go anywhere in January, but sold in the summer.
Who will take him though? For
Possible.
what? Like that's the thing with
Brighton.
Brighton.
yeah.
He'll go somewhere shit like that. Fulham.
Well, that's a bit hard.
Go to
Fulham
Fulham.
are unbeaten this year.
They've taken a few scouts.
Wouldn't have to move out soon, would they?
Yeah.
Right. No, anyone else got over reaction, or have we done it for the week?
I do think we're the best team in the world at the minute.
Reaction, do you think?
I'm
Yeah.
joking. I'm joking.
Has France been said?
Right, no, not yet. No,
That's been said.
no. Right, Lion of the week. Cole Palmer, his first ever actual Lion of the week. Well done,
Nice.
Cole. But we've had a shocker. We've had a shocker here, boys. The wheel went with Madueke.
No.
Ollie, you went with
Double
Caicedo.
no.
I went with Jackson, and Chris went with Cucurella.
That's Chris all day.
Yeah,
Cucurella had
that's
the best game.
Cucurella, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just, it has to be. Right, so Lion of the midweek, we're taking on Ghent, Conference League, Lion picks. I'm going to be cheeky again. I'm going to go for back-to-back league. No, not League Cup. Back-to-back cup games and picking Kunku again.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
Oh, well, Ollie's going to pick Dewsbury Hall, so write that down.
Right,
I wouldn't pick Dewsbury Hall as a wedding venue.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh.
I'm going to go with Pedro Neto.
Chris, I was going to go for that.
Oh, that's a good one, actually. What's the wheel gone with? Oh,
Mark you.
Reece James. Well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, he's out for another
sweet.
month. You got to respin.
I swear that wheel picks Reece James every
He
time.
really likes him.
Oh, don't take the piss. It's pick Marcus better than Ellen. He ain't playing. Keep going. We'll get.
You never
come on,
know.
Bert.
He might be in goal next week.
I'm going to go for Yao Felix. I'll go for Yao Felix.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Oh, good shout. That is a good
I'm
shout.
going to pick. I'll pick Mudryk. Why not? I don't know. Maybe you'll surprise us.
But
Ollie's gone brave.
João Felix. The wheel decided after having a sensible think. Vega.
I was tempted to go for
Oh.
Vega, to be honest. I was
Berth will love that.
my
Not
hero.
bad.
I was
Not bad.
tempted by that as well. And listeners, yeah. So you got you as we know, you are the embodiment of the wheel. So you guys picked Vega this week. So good job.
We have 2 questions I'm picking out of. Oh, actually, I might pick 3. So, Josh, is Caicedo a top 3 CDM in the Prem?
No, he's a top.
Not off
No,
that game.
he's a top 3 box to box midfielder. But he's not. He's not a
agree.
CDM. He can
Yes.
sit, but it's not what he does. He's most valuable
But,
cutting up the pitch as well. Like his passes and stuff in the last couple of games, especially against like West Ham and stuff, were really important for us.
Just
DMs
like
aren't really
Kante.
doing that.
Just like Kante.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was about to say, Berth. Caicedo is getting shoehorned the same way Kante did. Just because he tackles a lot doesn't mean he's a CDM. A CDM sits in front of the back 4 and protects.
That's what
not
Makelele
Caicedo does.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why Kante was never Makelele, because he just went and hunted the ball, and that's where Caicedo's best. So no, he isn't. There actually isn't that many CDMs.
No,
in
the last
Premier
one
League.
who was
Actual
you
ones.
got Declan Rice probably is, isn't he? You
I
had
don't even know if he
Paulinho.
is. I
Paulinho
don't
maybe
think-
before he went to to Bayern. Onana
Yeah.
maybe
And,
at
do you know,
Everton.
I
But
don't
even
even-
he's a bit of a box to box as well. So
I don't even think Rodri is a CDM.
no, probably not. You know,
If you look at the positions Rodri takes up, it's
scores
not
enough goals.
CDM.
He probably shouldn't count as one.
what about Enzo Fernandez?
For Chris, he's
Yeah.
barely an M,
Yeah,
let
yeah.
alone a CDM.
Yeah.
If
Fucking hell.
I made a noise just because I just saw the score in the Monday Night Football and it's 2-0 to Bournemouth, and all I thought was I picked Ramsdale as a player to watch this year.
Nice.
To be fair, Fulkrug's not done much either, so
He's getting relegated again.
yeah, he probably will be.
Southampton are just
right.
dog water, aren't they? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Paulie Height has asked, is Beaver Jones going to be the difference in us winning the WSL this year? Ooh.
I don't think you can just stamp it down on one player though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
She'll help, but I just don't think that team is just too good.
I think she's going to make a big
That-
impact, and she will be a really important constituent part. But she's not going to be the reason. I don't think any of our players actually will be. I think that's the strength of the squad. You can take 2 or 3 of them out, and 2 or 3 others might come in and still do a job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
I
with you
think
on that.
since the year Sam Kerr won top scorer, I don't think we've been that team
Yeah.
who's had the player who's won us the league. Like, we are just overall, we are the best team in the league.
100%. Right, I'm going to just push in one final question from Byron. He started at the beginning of the show. He's closing out the questions. In a game like this, do you think Nkunku should have been given more minutes?
Yeah.
After the 4th one goes, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
She probably should have played the majority of the second half, I think.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
I think
this was a game where you could have took Palmer off.
Yeah.
After 55, 60 minutes and gave Nkunku the half an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. But maybe
because he's done his job and he's scored 4 goals.
Maybe he's been rested for Ghent.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to do a nice, easy one for Ross Turnbull's Tenaball to close this week, because Monday, not close a week. The categories EAFC 25, easy. Just work together, naming the top 10 best male dribblers on EAFC 25 based on the dribbling stat. He's not on there.
Vinicius.
He's not on there.
Vinicius Junior.
He's got 91. He's fifth.
Neymar?
Yeah. 92.
Messi's still got to be up there, surely.
92.
Gets harder now.
Second. He's on second.
Who's going to be the best dribbler on that?
Mbappe?
Well, Mbappe is number 1. However, they're all joint 92. There's another one player with 92. So Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe are joint at 92.
Rafael Leao.
He's not in the top 10.
Well, that's an absolute joke.
He's not in the top 10.
His biggest stat.
Are we counting icons or not? No icons. No. Okay.
Just base cards. All right.
I don't think Prem. Foden, is he on there?
90.
Saka?
He's on there. Saka is not.
I think Foden's got better dribbling than Leao.
I can't wait for you to find out who's 9th and 10th.
So who have we got left now? So you've got 2 Premier League players, 1 La Liga, 1 Bundesliga, 1 Serie A.
Oh, Musiala
is 7th with 90.
Salah
is not the player. This player's 3rd with 92. He's joint first, essentially.
In the Premier
League. Is it Bernardo Silva?
Bernardo Silva.
Good shout.
So just 3 more. You've got Serie A, you've got La Liga, you've got Premier League.
Serie A.
I'll be Pulisic.
Serie A, the Georgian.
Oh, yeah.
I said him.
No.
It can't be Pulisic. It cannot be Pulisic, surely.
Is it Christian? It's not Christian Pulisic. I can give you the nationalities.
Yeah, that'd be useful.
Of 8, not 8 to 9 and 10. Number 8 is Norwegian.
Odegaard.
Yes,
really?
Wow. Odegaard. 9th is
Overrated.
French.
Dembele.
Really?
No.
That's a surprise.
Wow. It's so controversial.
Is it Diaby? No, he's not. No, he's in Saudi.
No, he's left. Yeah.
Barcola?
No. French player playing in La Liga.
Griezmann.
Griezmann.
Wow.
That's such a legacy stat, isn't it? Because he was good.
You haven't. Ago. Number 10 is the best. Argentinian
playing in which league is it?
Serie A.
Not Dybala, is it? Surely.
Paulo Dybala.
Oh.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Fair enough, I suppose.
Yeah. If anyone ever wants to know why you can't take FIFA FC stats seriously, that list.
You know what annoys me as well
pretty
about
much.
these stats as well, and about this FIFA generation is you go on Twitter and people a lot of the time base their opinions on football players because of FIFA, and it is the most
based on their
annoying
stats
thing in the world. No one has ever seen Rafael Leao play on Twitter. Literally, they've just played with him a few times. I think he's world class.
You're right. The amount of people who call him world class on Twitter and the amount of people who've actually watched him play, like the Venn diagram is just two circles that don't touch each other.
They probably think he plays for Inter Milan. No, they don't even know where he plays.
The fact he isn't in the top 10 for dribblers though, when Foden and Bernardo Silva are, I think is a joke.
No, I wouldn't disagree. Right. Thank you for listening to this episode. Treat yourself well. We'll be back on Friday for the Friday show since we play on Thursday. So, normal show as resumed. So, till then, that is us signing off.
You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.